ਨਿਊ ਜਰਸੀ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸਟਨ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸਟਨ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵੁਡਰੋ ਵਿਲਸਨ ਸਕੂਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਦਾ ਆਯੋਜਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ ਸਾਬਤ-ਸੂਰਤ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸਰੂਪ ਵਾਲੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਿਊਟੀ ਨਿਭਾ ਰਹੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਵੀਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਨਮਾਨਿਤ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ। ਇਸ ਸਮਾਗਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਵੀਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸਰੂਪ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਇਮ ਰੱਖਣ ਵੇਲੇ ਆਈਆਂ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਤਜਰਬਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਉੱਭਰ ਰਹੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਿਤ ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ।
Was invited to a Veterans Day parade out in Northern California. They've been inviting me for a while, and finally I was able to get out there. And I met a family, a young family, older gentleman. His name is Singh, and his daughter as well. And I met his wife. They told me the story of their son, Gurpreet Singh. I'm going to share this story with you. Gurpreet was born in India, like me. And his favorite movie as a kid was Border. I don't know if you guys, anybody saw Border? It's like this, it's about, it's a military movie about the India-Pakistan issue. And so he loved that movie. His parents told me he loved that movie so much he'd watch it constantly, as a little kid. So much so that by the time he was 8 years old, he packed up his bags and he started to leave the house one day because he told his parents he was going to join the army. So they didn't let him go, run away and join the army. But soon thereafter, they emigrated to the US and they settled in California. They became naturalized citizens and, like so many of us, they became Americans. For Gurpreet, he never really gave up on his dream to become a soldier. So when his friends in high school joined the Marines, Gurpreet decided, you know what, I'm going to become a Marine too. And now, Gurpreet didn't keep his hair, didn't keep his gaze. He didn't tie the star. But in his heart, he's a Sikh. And so as a Sikh, he felt a connection to that heritage and our great history of Sikh service in the military. So when he was 17, he brought home a paper to his parents. And he said, I'm not 18 yet. I need you guys to sign this so I can join the Marines and become a Marine. And he said, if you don't sign this, I'll just wait a few months and I'll join when I'm 18. The parents, they looked at him and they said, look, we're not, you're our only son. We don't want to sign this. What if we lose you? And he said, Mom and Dad, I really, I don't know why, but I really just want to do this. And I've always wanted to do this. Something from within. He couldn't explain it. Something that was pulling him. And so his father signed it, reluctantly signed it. And Gurpreet joined the Marines. Went off to basic training, did great. He was in great physical shape. And then he got deployed to Afghanistan. Now, his first deployment to Afghanistan, I'd say it was 2008 or 2009. Was still very busy during that time. And he did great. He came back, performed exceptionally well. came back, and in another year or two, he would be ready for discharge and move on with his life. His friend was up for deployment, and this is early 2011. And his friend said, Gurpreet, I'm really scared. Can you come with me? Gurpreet didn't have to go, but his friend was scared, and his friend asked him to go serve with him. So Gurpreet volunteered to go again. So in June of 2011, I was in Afghanistan. I was in south of Kandahar. I was in Helmand province. Very, very bloody, very, very tough year, conflict there in Afghanistan, 2011. And in June, I remember so distinctly one of the Marine commanders coming to me, a friend of mine, because I was on a Marine base, and said, one of your people just got shot. And I said, I don't know of any of my people that are here. I said, I thought I was the first. He said, well, some guy named Singh, that's you guys, right? I'm like, yeah, that's us. So, but that was it, that 10-second exchange. And then I met Gurpreet's family a few weeks back, and they said, well, Gurpreet was shot in June 2011. And he was right there. So the first time he got shot, it hit his vest. And he was fine. The next day, he was discharged from the hospital and he went back to his unit. 10 days later, Gurpreet was shot in the head, and he didn't survive that. He was killed in action, awarded a Purple Heart and Bronze Star. And I was so blown away by his parents, his family's strength. They weren't crying when they told me about it. They said, Colonel Kalsi, we go to all these veterans events and we show them that this was our son, that he served, he sacrificed. He's a naturalized citizen. He wasn't born here, but he still called this place his home. He felt strongly enough that he gave his life because this is his country. A few days before Gurpreet passed away, he wrote a card. He wrote a letter to his mom and dad. And he said in that letter, Mom, Dad, I know you're upset with me. But thank you for letting me serve. They got this maybe 2 or 3 months after he passed away, right before his birthday. And he said, his mom's name is Satnam. He said, every night before I go to sleep, I say Satnam Vaheguru. And I think of you guys. I think of you, Mom. And I'm not scared anymore. Sikhism teaches us to serve and to sacrifice. It's a part of our heritage, it's a part of our history, it's a part of our spiritual path. Perhaps now, more than at any time in our history before, the Sikh identity is under fire. We survived the Mughal invasions. We survived partition. We survived 84. We will survive this too. But we have to fight for it. We have to fight for our right to serve. We have to fight for our right to sacrifice. We have to stand up and fight for our Sikh identity. And I don't really care what the Sikh identity means to you. You need to make that decision. It's very personal then. If you feel your Sikh identity involves a turban, more power to you. If you feel it doesn't, you're not offending me. But we need to stand together because all minorities are under attack. And so, the parade actually never happened because the air quality was so bad. But I was so thankful I got to meet his family. So things don't often make sense, and I've always sort of just gone with the flow. And sometimes they lead you down this road. Life takes you down this road. There's always a purpose. Not a blade of grass moves without reason. So, with that, if I've offended anyone, I'm so sorry. I'm not really sorry. But I will take your questions.
This is Jagjeevan Kaur, and I'm here in Princeton University. So I'm 20% smarter today we both are, with Kamal Kalsi, and he's going to say a few words about today's event.
Yeah, I was just very honored to be here today at Princeton University with the Princeton Sikh Association, Sikh Student Association, and we talked about the issues facing our Sikh community. I talked about Sikh military service and sacrifice, and how our nonprofit, the Sikh American Veterans Alliance, SEVA, is furthering that agenda of improving our Sikh engagement at the national security level. We talked about why it's important to have Sikhs engage in national security, and why it's important to be a part of the machine, especially the political machine. If we want a seat at the table, we have to start getting into these activities. We have to start serving in the military, going into policy job positions, and going into media. Not all of our kids have to become doctors and lawyers, but we need to branch out a little bit, and I think we need to do that institutionally as well. We have a beautiful and wonderful Gurdwara system to work off of, but now I think our Sikh communities should start to work perhaps through the Gurdwara, but look into a little deeper into our communities. Can you help your local veterans group? Can you do some food drives? Can you do other events, community events, to show our community participation? Outside.
Work in the nursing homes, maybe?
Yeah, nursing homes, hospitals, something just more than just the Gurdwara.
Yeah, that was a really great speech that you gave.
Thank you.
Speaking about the person that you met in California recently.
Yeah, I talked about Gurpreet Singh, one of our fallen soldiers, a Marine, and his story. So we really pay homage and honor his service and the service of so many that have sacrificed over the years. So we look to improve the diversity of our military. We promote equality, and we really feel that America's military should look like the nation it serves. And it's important that Sikhs get out there and start to serve.
I think the Princeton Sikh Association is really doing a good job with this
yeah.
program. What do you think about it?
Yeah, they did an amazing job at lining up speakers and putting together a beautiful event. Something that will spur conversation, not just a vanilla feel-good event that people come to, but something that truly memorable. So these kids did an amazing job.
Yes, I think so. Thank you.
He is now the first Sikh American Attorney General in the United States history. So please welcome Grewal.
I'm honored to be here. I get invited to speak at a lot of different venues, and it's an honor to speak at any venue as a 61st Attorney General. But it's a particular honor to speak to a group of Sikhs. I see some young Sikhs here, and I think the important takeaway from all of our stories, from Kamal's story and from my story, is that your Sikhi is no obstacle to success in this country. That it should never be used as an excuse that you can't achieve something because you're a Sikh, or that you can't do something because you are a Turk. It has never been a hindrance for Kamal, it has not been a hindrance for me, and it should not be a hindrance for you. Granted, things are difficult on occasion, but those difficulties build character, they make you stronger, and they make you more compassionate. And I think that's certainly been the case for me. And so my journey in public service started a little bit later. I think it's been alluded to earlier. As my generation, I'm older, but I'm not old. But I'm older than some of the students here from Sikhs of Princeton. But my journey was sort of the typical journey. Our parents come to this country in search of better educational opportunities, better economic opportunities, and they want their next generation to have better opportunities than they had. So the push generally is to become a good doctor, as was said earlier, to become a good lawyer, to become a good professional. And no one ever says, go be a good public servant, that it's okay to go be a fireman or a cop or a soldier or a prosecutor. And so naturally, as I was coming of age and going to school, I wasn't smart enough to be a doctor. I wasn't smart enough to be an engineer. And so I chose law school. And I chose law school. And it wasn't easy for me. And believe me, this is probably the closest I'll ever come to getting into Princeton. And I was telling the folks with me that I felt smart just being here today. So I chose law school. And when I left law school, I went to one of the largest firms in Washington, D.C. And I was very content being at that firm. I had no push to go serve others. I was making a lot of money. I had a really nice car. I was single, and I was able to just buy my own place. And I was just living that life. And work was a grind, but I was enjoying it. And then for me, the wake-up call and the call to service came on September 11th, 2001. And on that day, I was in Washington, D.C., going to work on that Tuesday morning. And then I got to the office and we heard the news about the attacks at the World Trade Center. And we all went to the Attorney Lounge and we watched the videos of what was unfolding across the country. And I started to grieve with all my colleagues, and I felt the same pain that each of them felt at seeing what was happening to this country in that particular moment. And as the day progressed, and as I went out as much as you could carry on your normal life, I went out to grab some lunch. We came back, we saw what was happening, and being 3 or 4 blocks from the White House, they decided to shut down the law firm early that day. Everyone just sort of left the city because there was the attack on the Pentagon. There was a fear that there would be more attacks. And I remember my mom called me. She said, you should go buy your groceries and just stay home for a couple of days. And it didn't really register why I should do that. I don't have anything to be worried about. I was born in this country. I played Little League. You were a soccer mom. We're American. What's going to happen to us? And I went back to work a day later. I didn't take the next day off. And I remember going out to lunch the day after that Wednesday, and you could just sort of see the looks and the stares and people muttering things under their breath. And then there was a homeless gentleman who lived in the vicinity of where I worked. And he yelled out as I was walking with a group of colleagues, "Look, I caught him. I found bin Laden. I found bin Laden." And then every day we had 2 exits to that building. It was a massive office building, and I would try to peer out to make sure he wasn't there, because if I was with a client, if I was with a friend, it really made you feel terrible and embarrassed and afraid. And so I was ducking him left and right. And then it wasn't just the homeless guy. It was somebody on a train. If it wasn't somebody on a train, it was somebody as we were traveling, at the airport. And it was just building and building and building. And that led to some introspection for me. It led me to really ask, why is it the case that you could be born in this country, that you grew up here, and you checked all the boxes, that one day you're suddenly made to feel as if you don't belong, that you're the other, that you are not part and parcel of the fabric of this country, that you don't have the same luxury that we have to breathe right now, that you have to just now watch your back at every turn. And for me, I think, after some introspection, the answer was, listen, we've done a great job succeeding academically, succeeding financially and professionally. But we have done a horrible job in giving back, in taking part in public service, in those positions that are so sort of intertwined with what it means to be American, those frontline public service positions. And it was at that moment that I just started applying to prosecutors' offices. And I applied to pretty much every U.S. Attorney's office I could up and down the East Coast. Because for me, I knew as a lawyer, as a litigator, there was no better way to give back than to become a federal prosecutor. And ultimately, I had the opportunity to do that at the U.S. Attorney's office in Brooklyn. And to me, every time I got up in front of a jury, every time I got up in front of a grand jury, every time I interacted with a victim, a witness, or with a law enforcement officer, I was not only doing public service. In my mind, I was changing people's perceptions, or rather misperceptions, of people like me, or what they thought of people like me, or who shared our Sikh faith. And so to me, it was not only public service, it was also a massive public relations campaign to really let people know who we are, what we believe in. If you look past the outside, if you look past the stereotypes, that Sikh ideals are American values. Sikh values and American values are perfectly aligned. The call to service, to battle social inequality, to work for the benefit of all humanity. These are things that are so intrinsically American that folks, if they knew it, they wouldn't have a doubt about our loyalty and our patriotism. And so that started this long journey for me as a prosecutor. I worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn for 4 years, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. I went on to the U.S. Attorney's Office in New Jersey, and I did about 7 years there. And a Republican governor, Governor Christie at the time, called me and asked me for an interview for the county prosecutor's position in Bergen County. And for those who are not from New Jersey or are from Jersey that don't know the county prosecutor system, the county prosecutor is the chief law enforcement officer in the county. It's the equivalent of the district attorney in other states. And I had the opportunity to interview with the governor for the county prosecutor in Bergen, which is a county of 1 million people, 70 plus municipalities, and almost 4,000 cops. And I went through that interview process, and when I sat down with him, I don't know what he was asking me, but I almost blurted out, "I'm a Democrat." I just didn't want there to be any, misunderstanding about who he was talking to. And to his credit, he said, "I don't care. I just want somebody with your background as a federal prosecutor to come in here and call balls and strikes as you see them." And that set off a different experience, to manage an office of nearly 300 people, and to supervise law enforcement operations in an entire county, to set law enforcement priorities in Bergen. And I did that for 2 years, and it gave me the chance to really work on core areas that were so important to me. And I worked on building police-community relations, and I worked on battling an opioid crisis, and I worked on battling violent crime. But the other thing it afforded me was a bigger platform than I had as a prosecutor. Whereas I could impact 12 jurors at a time, or a grand jury at a time, or a lawyer or a witness at a time, as a county prosecutor, you're the man in that county when it comes to law enforcement. You are setting policy for all law enforcement in that county. You are the public face of law enforcement. You speak to student groups. And I would not pass up an opportunity to speak. I would not pass up an opportunity to speak at a police academy graduation, or at a high school, or at any other sort of public event, because I knew that this is a fleeting opportunity. And I wanted to use that opportunity not just to forward good policy, but to go out there looking the way I do and believing the way I do. That I wanted people to see me and say, hey, that's the chief law enforcement officer for Bergen County. And perhaps the next time they saw us sick, we're not even just as sick, because Kamal talked about it. Sometimes we're so myopic in our outlook that we just care about ourselves. That should never be the case. That's how the Sikhs are. I just wanted people to understand that you don't have to look a certain way, or believe a certain way, or not believe a certain way, or love a certain way to do any particular job. And so that's why I would take up every opportunity, and particularly going into the high schools. We had an opioid crisis in Bergen that was ravaging our residents. And so we would go into the high schools, 9th grade classes, to talk to students. And I wanted to do that not just obviously to talk to them about the perils of addiction and the different pathways to addiction, but also to be there because, a couple of times I would go, I would see the Sikh student in the back row, just maybe hiding in his chair. I was that kid. I knew what it felt like to be bullied. And I wanted to show him that he didn't need to be ashamed of his identity, that he could do anything he wanted. And I think in my mind that if I could help him, or help another Sikh student, or help another Muslim student, or whoever is being singled out for their identity, or for some other reason, that maybe I was making a difference there too, in addition to what I was doing as a law enforcement officer. And so I did that for about 2 years. Not out there looking to be the Attorney General of New Jersey. For those who are from New Jersey, we have our teachers conference in November, and we have this incredible random 4 or 5 day weekend in November where all of New Jersey goes down to Disney World, and they call it Jersey Week at Disney. And so we were down at Disney for that week, and I got a phone call, and I was with my youngest daughter. My wife had the older 2 girls in a different part of the park, and we were at the Little Mermaid Undersea Adventure. I have it in my mind right now where exactly I was. And I got a phone call, and she was like playing on some rock or something that I probably shouldn't have let her play on. And I picked up the call because I thought maybe it was my office or somebody, because it was a New Jersey number I didn't recognize. And I picked it up, and the voice on the other line said, prosecutor, this is so-and-so. I work for Governor-elect Murphy. We're interested in speaking to you about the position of Attorney General. And it took every ounce of restraint for me not to curse at that person, thinking he was a friend of mine pulling my leg. But I didn't. And I said, hold on, give me a second. So I grabbed my daughter and I stood off to the side. I said, okay, I'm interested in talking to you. And they said, well, can you come in tomorrow? I said, that's going to be a little bit difficult. I'm at the Magic Kingdom right now. and they said, well, when are you back? And it was a couple of days later. And they said, can you send us a resume? I didn't have a resume. So I went to the hotel business center and I typed one overnight, sent it in. And then when I came back, it set off a process, an interview process. And I said, why are you guys asking me? I haven't contributed politically, I can't contribute politically, I'm not a political person. Well, they said, we like the way you're approaching law enforcement in Bergen. We like how you're taking a compassionate approach to the opioid crisis, that you're not locking up low-level offenders, that you're trying to get them treatment. We like the fact that you've taken on police-community relations by encouraging dialogues between law enforcement and community members before crisis. that you would try to build trust before a crisis. We like how you're attacking violent crime, that whereas low-level offenders need to be treated a certain way, but those who are organized and trafficking drugs in your county need to be treated in a different way. And we like how you're balancing your approach. And that set up a process that ultimately, in December of last year, the governor nominated me to be the Attorney General. January 16th of this year, I was sworn in the same day as the governor. And for the last 10 months, it's just been an incredible honor and a privilege to serve the nearly 9 million residents of this state and to do it as a Sikh. And I think particularly in this moment, it is so important, I think, not just for me, but for someone who shares the type of beliefs that I do, to be in this position. Because we are in a moment right now where basic constitutional principles, rules, norms are under attack, where our immigrant communities are under attack, where so much of what brought our families to this country, those beliefs and those values are under attack. You know, we have a president, and I said I wouldn't talk about the usual Trump speech, but I can't not say this. You know, we are living in a moment where we have a president that is pitting communities against each other, that is dehumanizing people, that is putting children in cages and separating families, that is instituting travel bans based on religion. You know, and these are things that are making it much more difficult for all of our immigrant communities in particular to live their lives. And not only that, they're normalizing. The tone at the top is normalizing behavior that we thought we would never see in our lifetimes. You know, there's always been hate and bigotry in this country. There's always been hate and bigotry. But the notion that we would see in this day and age, in 2018, people attacking each other for their religion, people attacking a synagogue, one of the most violent attacks on Jews in this country, in Squirrel Hill, the fact that last year we would see individuals on a college campus carrying torches and yelling, "Jews will not replace us," the fact that we would have 2 Sikh gentlemen earlier this summer attacked and told to leave this country. You know, this is a moment where we just need to all come together, not just folks in my position to hold the line for decency and to call out what's going on in Washington, but all of us, because you know, this is what we need to do as Sikhs. We need to stand up in these types of moments as our gurus did in their time, as those who came before us did in their time. And that's why when we talked earlier about you know, why public service, why not public service? It is so in line with our Sikhi. We are natural born public servants. There is no better profession for us to be in as Sikhs than public service. I would encourage everyone, whether you're young or old, to find a way to give back and to serve, because I think only then will we fully integrate ourselves and really give back to a country that has given all of us so much. So thank you.
ਇਸ ਸਮਾਗਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਕੁਝ ਸਰੋਤਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਪੱਤਰਕਾਰ ਜਗਜੀਵਨ ਕੌਰ ਨੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਜਾਣੇ। ਇਸ ਸਮਾਗਮ ਨਾਲ ਸਿੱਖ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਫਾਇਦਿਆਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਜਾਣੂ ਕਰਵਾਇਆ।
You know, we had 4 speakers and each one of them, excelled in the issues they covered, 4 diverse issues and very, very informative, extremely inspiring. Telling the Princeton community and the community at large about the values of Sikhism, the challenges Sikhs face, and the message which we need to get across to the American population. You know, the message of inclusiveness, message of equality, message of welfare of all, which are the core messages of the Sikh faith. So really a tremendous achievement on the part of the Princeton students who organized this event, and more power to them. Thank you.
I think this was a wonderful forum. I think I'd like to congratulate Princeton University students to organize such a wonderful function in which 4 distinguished Sikh personalities came and shared their experiences, not only about their lives, but also how Sikhism actually contributed to their progress and also where they are, and in terms of their development and how they are taking the teaching of the Sikh gurus into their daily lives and providing a universal love and service to the community and treating everybody an equal. And those are the Sikh teaching that Kar Seva, serve the communities and contribute to the peace and as united communities, not as divided. Sikhism unites, not divides. And Sikhism has the Sikhs have a entity, has an identity that we need to keep it and preserve it. And all these four speakers who came and shared their lives together were just wonderful. Great experience. I think they laid a great foundation for the younger generation to come and experience. And I really congratulate again Princeton University students for organizing such a function. So thank you.
Hi, it was really great to be here, and it was so pleasure. It was so good to see so many great people, and I'm glad to see so many young kids were here, so they can learn a lot from these great people. And definitely they are always here for us for any help, any guidance. So I request my kids, any kids, who wants to learn something, they want to struggle something, they should meet these heroes and learn from their life. Vaheguru Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Hi, my name is Mohinder Sidhu. I am a friend of Kalsi's, and it was nice seeing you here on taking this small shot of me. Thank you very much. Appreciate. Have good luck and very good wishes.
I think a lot of the speakers at this, speaking of Princeton's event today, really challenged the thought and brought out controversial issues with different perspectives. It really made everyone in this room think about and understand the dialogue that was being spread. So these new thoughts are necessary in the Panth, and sharing and understanding and holding more events like this are really helpful in getting that dialogue across. So I really would love to see more events and more speakers coming out to the New Jersey area. And New Jersey really needs this to accelerate and move forward. Hey, this is Tejveer Singh from New Jersey. I'm a student at New Jersey Institute of Technology, and I really loved coming out to the Princeton event today.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm here with Jagjeevan Kaur at Princeton University in the Robertson Hall building, and I feel very smart. Are you a student here?
Yes, I am.
Wow, that's incredible. I can't even imagine how smart you have to be a student here. I just spoke to Kamal Kalsi, and he said that today's event was really great. He felt that you guys did a really good job in setting everything up and getting all the speakers together. How do you feel today's event went?
I think it went really well. I think the ultimate goal with this event was to create a platform just where you can talk about things that we don't normally get to just sit down and talk about, because it's always been okay, you're gonna learn XYZ and you just apply XYZ. It's never really you sit down and think for yourself. And I think this provides an opportunity to come up with topics where you can be okay, let's challenge a thought, let's challenge something that's been happening in society, or let's see how something's gone through society and how you can make things better. And I think hopefully I think that the event has done that. Overall, I think it went really well. So.
And do you feel that it shows some of the people that are here that are not Sikh a little bit about our culture?
Yeah, I think it definitely does show a lot of relatable issues that kind of you see happening in a lot of different cultures. And I think being able to talk about topics like civic engagement, or just analyzing text and how to understand and analyze religious text, I think that's something that generally can be applied to a lot of different religions and a lot of different cultures. So I think on that front, it does apply to people that aren't Sikh who still come and listen to these kind of talks, because they do provide things on the philosophy side of things, and they do provide things on the politics side. So I think on that front, it does provide a lot of substance for on non-Sikhs.
Thank you very much for having me and having Chardikla Time TV here.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sat Shri Akal.
ਸੱਚਮੁੱਚ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸਟਨ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕਰਵਾਏ ਗਏ ਇਸ ਸਮਾਗਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਸਾਬਤ ਸੂਰਤ ਸਿੱਖ ਜਵਾਨ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਲਈ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਨਾ ਦਾ ਸਰੋਤ ਬਣਨਗੇ ਅਤੇ ਨਵੀਂ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀ ਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਸੇਧ ਵੀ ਦੇਣਗੇ। ਉਮੀਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਸਿੱਖ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਮਹਾਨ ਵੀਰਾਂ ਵਾਂਗ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੌਮ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਣ ਦਿਵਾਏ ਅਤੇ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖੇ। ਨਿਊ ਜਰਸੀ ਤੋਂ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਟਾਈਮ TV ਲਈ ਜਗਜੀਵਨ ਕੌਰ ਦੀ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ।